on the night of the Super Bowl in, 1998. It's funny that I know it's that night. On that night, uh, my family, my grandparents were over with my mom and dad and me watching the Super Bowl. And from what my mom tells me, I was on the floor. I cried out in a rather, painful scream. I looked up at her, I raised my arms, and then I was gone. They didn't know what happened. I was just gone on the floor, no breathing, no heart beat, nothing. They assumed I had choked or maybe a seizure. I mean, they were just kids. They didn't know. They were 27 and 24 at the time.
Wow.
And so they didn't know. Yes, they were well, relatively young. And they had an 8-month-old. And I mean, who knows what to do with an 8-month-old unless you've had them before. Yeah, I was their first and only. But my dad took me, they called an ambulance, and my dad took me to the back of the porch. And because he thought I was choking, he decided to hit my back to, dislodge what was ever in my throat that he thought was there. And somehow he hit me so hard that it restarted my heart. What happened was that we know now is that I had a massive heart attack, like the big one. But the paramedics assumed that it was just the stress from having been in the hospital just a few days prior, and possibly that I got choked on something. Nothing, big. And they didn't even say to call our doctor for it. I mean, who would think that a 8-month-old would have a heart attack? So then 4 months later, my mom is a teacher and she's at work, and she gets a call from my babysitter, and my babysitter says he won't stop crying and screaming and everything. And so they went to her, and I was in pretty bad shape, just, like think fussy baby, but to the point of thinking, they're in the middle of dying or something like that. And they took me back to the hospital, and they did, test after test. And my mom, previously, back when I was 8 months old, they had called in a specialist. What are they called? Infectious disease specialist. And because they thought that it could be a number of things. And at one point, they had brought up the possibility of it being a little known disease called Kawasaki's disease. And the doctor said, no, it was impossible. The symptoms for that are strawberry tongue, high fever, peeling of the fingers, like a diaper rash, and extreme pain, which causes like screaming and yelling, and like what I had. The doctor said, no, that can't be it. They showed her like the fingernail peelings or the finger peelings and all of that, and they said, no, it couldn't be it. So come to find out, when I was, a year and 2 months old, that I had Kawasaki's disease, and it had gotten into the heart and caused massive damage. My mom refused to let me leave the hospital before they told her what was wrong. And they were about to discharge me, and she said, "You're wrong. There's something wrong here." And my pediatrician happened to be there, and she said, "Listen to his heart and just see." And the doctor's like, oh, it's this crazy mom and she just wants to, I'll humor her. And so he puts the stethoscope up to my chest and he's listening, and then his face starts to turn, and 3 minutes later he comes back up and my mom says, I was right all along, wasn't I? And he said, I hear a gallop. He's in heart failure.